Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle and thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. I went through my phone the other day and I found 3 videos that I have not edited and done voiceovers yet. So today's mission is to get those videos done and hopefully remember what I did because it's been a while since I've done these. So let's see if I can remember. Okay, so I wanted to use that little wonky house in Marlene's cut and paste block. This is a A4 cut and paste block. I wasn't too sure how I would use the house, but then I thought this could be a little cottage and I'm going to give this girl a home. So I fussy cut the head and the house. And now I'm going to start adding some paint. So I've got Marlene's paints, of course. This one is called Olive. Then I've got Forest. And I think Envy will make an appearance. Kermit. Maybe that one's Kermit. The light one is Kermit. This is the neon one. And yeah, so I'm just popping them down in 3 places and blending them out. I know that they don't look blended together at the moment, but the next step will cover those harsh lines. Hopefully, let's see. So I've mixed up 2 more green paints. I think it could have been Breeze and maybe the neon green one. I really don't know. I'm so sorry. I absolutely cannot remember what colors I used. But I went through the stencil. This is one of Marlene's older stencils. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's like underwater coral anemones, something like that. It's very floral. It's really, really pretty. I do enjoy using it all the time. So I just went all over the page and stenciled over the top. And now I'm going in with Marlene's grungy textures stamp, and I used the little one that's got like 2 rows of little squares and some green ink again. And I just stamped that out again in 3 different places. And now I'm using clotted cream, I believe. And I'm just doing some reductive stenciling. Again, 3 places, and then I've got some clotted cream out on my mat, and I'm going to add some mark making. This is to try and blend those greens together and to push those darker bits to the background a bit more. I didn't want to spend too much time on the background because the house is quite big, so it is going to take up a lot of that background space. So where things also didn't blend in properly, it really doesn't matter because I knew that house will cover up a lot of it. So I went back into the collage paper book and I cut some flowers as well. I cut that bit out for you. You don't need to see me fussy cutting flowers for days and days. So I did those, and I also found a little mouse, and she's holding a journal in her hand. So I thought that these 2 little friends live in a cottage somewhere in the forest with some overgrown rose bushes around the house. And they're just living their best life, I guess. I guess it would be the dream life for most of us crafters. So now that I'm happy with how I've got my flowers placed, I'm going to glue them all together. And then I'll work on the next step. So you would have seen me cutting the door open. Whenever I have doors or windows, I do like to have them flip open. I really love that little interactive element on my pages. I think it just makes it a little bit more fun and interesting when I page through my journals. I also drew in a little pathway which I will be painting in, just to connect the house to the ground a little bit more and to connect my girl to the page so everything looks like they belong together. So I'm going in with Marlene's brown paint, which is called Mud. I think this might be the first time I've used it. And I'm just blending the colors together using some clotted cream. And then again with that mark making, I've apparently covered it all up in the background when I glued my house and my flowers down. But I did the same kind of mark making because it does look a little bit like cobblestones. So I was quite pleased with how that turned out. And now you can see me just scratching through my pile of stamps for some extra bits. I think I was looking for some leafy frondy kind of looking stamps here, just to add a little bit of interest into that scene that I've got there. So somewhere amongst them I found the mark making stamp set and this little leafy frond, and I'm just going to stamp it here and there and everywhere to just connect the house to the page. So by overlaying the stamps onto the house and the background, it makes them all look connected and like they all belong together. I'm also bringing the stamping up out to the front of the scene, and I did use one from the Miss Piggy stamp set. I missed telling you this, but I did cut a little dress for my doll, just again from some scrap paper in the collage book. And it's a very simple shape. It's definitely not realistic or accurate, but it all works in the end. The eye will read it as a whole human shape. And then I also just did some stamping onto that dress because it was a little bit plain. Now I'm going in with my alcohol markers and I'm just brightening up some of the areas in the flowers. And I'm also going to use my paint pens. This just makes everything pop a little bit more. It gives my hand a little bit of practice to go around those rose shapes. And I guess I do this also because it makes me part of the artwork. So I didn't just take Marlene's work and stick it down. I actually put myself onto that page by adding these little details and adding my own colors and that sort of thing. I'm coloring in the flowers, and then just straight from the tube of paint I'm adding some dots and just a lot of faffing and coloring and seeing if things are going to get together, come together and work a little bit better. I love these roses, but they are a little bit dull for me. Same with the house. I love the look of it, but I thought that it was a little bit dull. You've watched my videos, and if you have not, well, go back and watch them. I do love bright colors, so what I'm trying to do here is just brighten up this little wonky house by coloring it over the top with my coloring and pencils. I'm brightening up the white bits and just trying to make it pop a little bit more. I do dry my page in between for fear of sticking my arm through wet paint and smudging it all over the show. So that's why you'll see me coming out with the dryer every now and then. And then I'm also colouring in these little scallopy bits on my girl's dress, just to give them, again, a little bit of a punch there. And once I'm happy with her dress, I will glue her onto the page. Now I'm going in with my black Posca paint pen and I'm just going to outline my girl, and I also like to just extend the leaf stems. I'm adding little grassy bits here and there, and it's really, really scribbly. There's no perfection. I find the scribblier it is, the better it actually looks, because it looks quite arty and painty. If I had to try and make my line work absolutely precise and I made one mistake, that mistake would be really, really obvious. But by making my lines scribbly on purpose, it looks like it's all supposed to be scribbly and sketchy. And again, just faffing about with more black and white. And what I'm trying to do is add a little bit of darkness, because those shadowy bits really help to bring some contrast to the page. It helps with popping the flowers out, and those details all pop out. But then sometimes things get a little bit dark, and then I push it back again with some white. So you'll see me going back and forth with black and white all the time to try and create just some balance between the darkness and the lightness. I also cut a little heart for her from some pink or reddish pink paper. I think it's the same paper that the house was from. Always like to put a little heart on my figures. It just makes them a little bit more human. And again with the line work, and you'll see every time I go back with that black line work how things just start to pop out a little bit more. Now I'm going in with my Stabilo All Pencil, and we're just going to try and add a little bit of shadowing here and there. I'm not going around everything, so I'm kind of imagining the sun coming in from the left top corner, and so the shadows will all be on the right and kind of on the bottom. And I think if I had to do shadows around every single element all the way around, it would start to look a little bit boring. So I like to vary it a little bit and just do my shadows here and there. And that is more than enough to push them out from the background and to make them a little bit more, I guess, dimensional, or to give it some depth. Still not happy with the stamping, so I'm going in with some more stamping. This is a very fine little stamp. It's also a little leafy one. I've used this stamp so many times. I actually have a little piece of double-sided tape behind it, so I can just pick it up with my finger and stamp it out a couple of times. Outlining the little heart and adding some more brightness to it again. And then I remembered that the little mouse inside the house probably also needs a little bit of shadowing. I think we are possibly coming to, because I covered up that mark making that I did right in the beginning, I just wanted to add a little bit back into the background, just because I knew it was there and I wanted it to be back. And now I'm colouring in her dress, just putting a little bit more neon paint on her dress, and I thought that that made it look a little bit alive. And now I've got my quote, chin up, straighten your crown and rule your kingdom. And I thought that looked perfect, because she looks like this home is her little kingdom. And of course, a queen needs a crown. And I think that's about it. Probably did some sparkly bits here and there with Marlene's Special Effects paint. I do love the sparkle effects on my pages. I love sparkles, and I think it just adds a little something extra, which I really, really love. Even sparkles on the windows there. All right. Thank you so much for bearing with me today while I was trying to fumble through and remember what I did on this page. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Please leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys. And if you are new here and have not subscribed yet, go over and subscribe. I've got plenty more videos already on my channel and lots more to come. And I will chat to you again very soon. Okay, bye.